I'm a big fan of the Leica SL3-S, and I was waiting for the successor since I bought this camera. And now the Leica SL3-S is finally here. The only question is it enough? And will I replace my beloved Leica SL3-S with the new one? Hey, my name is Chris, I'm a German photographer and I'm shooting on Leica cameras. Now let's talk about what I like so much about this camera, where many people think it's overpriced for what it is. And it is true, it has not the most impressive specs. But specs aren't everything. This camera has more to offer. First, it has a great high-resolution EVF. Then it has all those professional ports. You have microphone in, you have headphone out, you have full-size HDMI. What's absolutely great for pros if you want to put a monitor on there, and believe me, if you work with this camera, if you make money with this camera, it's a disaster if your cable gets loose and you are losing the footage on the monitor, because sometimes you're recording via the monitor. And with a full-size HDMI, well, chances are pretty low that the cable will slip out. And then we have USB-C. Back in the days, that was pretty new, so you can easily tether this camera via USB-C. You can charge it, and you also can put an SSD on here to record your videos. The next thing that I absolutely love about this camera is its usability. As you can see, most of the buttons on this camera are not labeled, and that's because you can set them how you want. And there's no easier way than on this camera. You only have to press the button for 2 seconds, and then on the back screen a menu appears and you can choose what you want to set it to. I know nowadays other camera manufacturers do the same, but back then that was absolutely new, and well, I mean, it's still great to have it. So what this camera also have is a super easy menu. I don't want to talk too long about that. I already said in other videos that the Leica menus are the best in class, the best on the market, so let's leave it here. To change your mode you're shooting in, your program mode, as you can see, there is no wheel on top, no dial on top where you can change it. It's pretty easy. You just have to press the wheel on the back here, and then you can change the mode on the shoulder display. That's very easy to, not too much on the body itself. Everything very clean and pretty easy to use. One thing that makes this camera to one of the best hybrid cameras out there is that you can switch between photo and video mode by a click of a button. And no, this camera doesn't just switch between the modes pretty fast. No, it also remembers all your settings. And that means it remembers your video settings if you're switching to video, and it also remembers your photo settings. And that is so great. Before I had this camera, I mean, I can't count how often I switched from photo to video and forgot to set my white balance to 5500, for example. I had an auto white balance and all my footage was messed up. There was always at least one thing that I missed to set. So that was a huge improvement with this one. And it also has shutter angle. Shutter angle in video is an absolute game changer. What it does is, most of people do want to shoot in 180 degree, and if you set it to 180 degree, you only have to set your FPS. Let's say you want to shoot on 25 FPS, the camera automatically sets the shutter speed to 1/50th. Or if you want to shoot at, let's say, 48 frames per second, the camera automatically puts it on 96. Now that we talked about what I like that much about this camera, let's talk about the Leica SL3-S and what they made different. And the great thing is they upgraded the autofocus, and they also upgraded the screen. And for someone like me that's pretty tall, it's absolutely crucial to shoot from the hip. And the flip screen, it just helps a lot if you want to shoot from the hip. So basically it checks all the boxes that I wanted, right? So what it does different is, first, the body. The body is, well, it's quite a bit small, not that small. The Leica SL system is not a small camera system. They have the Q and the M series for that, but, well, they shrunk it quite a bit. The SL2S has the body of the SL3, which means it's a bit lighter, a bit smaller. It has the third wheel on the shoulder here where you can change the ISO. I think you can set it for whatever you want, and you also have that button to turn the camera on. I do not need this button. I also like the switch. I don't care if button or switch. Then what I also did is, of course, they switched the buttons on this side over to this side like they did it on the Q3 as well. Still has all the ports we have on the SL2S, where I said that's great. It's still great. They kept the full-size HDMI, which is absolutely great, and the SL3S became the higher capacity battery from, I think it was originally first time in the Q3. So everything great? Well, not really. Of course, I mean, it's a decent camera, it's a very good camera, and back in the days I would have bought it right away. But nowadays, I mean, this camera is over $5,000 and you get the perfect Leica ruggedness, that perfect Leica body, the build quality which is above everyone else. But, well, what absolutely disappointed me is that it doesn't have 4K 100 frames per second, and also that it doesn't have 4K 60 full sensor readout. I mean, this camera has 4K 60 crop, and they changed nothing here. It is 4 or 5 years later. I think there should have been an upgrade. So these two things are a real bummer for me. I do not need it that much, but I mean, at that price point, I would absolutely love to see that. And I mean, this is a video-centric camera, or it's marketed as a video-centric camera, so I think it should have that. But, well, they decided to not include it, and yeah, that's a bummer for me. And with that, can I recommend this camera? Will I buy this camera? Well, if you're searching for a great hybrid camera, this is definitely not a bad camera and it's worth to look at. But it doesn't give you the most for the money. And honestly, Leica, Canon, Nikon, and also Sony, they improved with the usability. The menus are not quite there, but well, they have to offer a lot, and especially the Canon R5 Mark II and the Nikon C8, well, they are both cheaper and have to have a much more. They have better sensors, they have higher megapixel, they have a faster readout in the sensors. So, well, I just can't recommend it to you if you're searching for a good hybrid camera, although it is pretty good. But if you want to dive into the Leica system and you're interested in buying your first Leica camera and you need a good hybrid and you want to shoot video and photo, well, it's absolutely worth a look, cause I mean, it is the cheapest camera Leica has to offer, and it's a pretty good camera, don't get me wrong. It's just that there are other manufacturers out there that give you much more for the price. But like I said, if you want to dive into Leica, this is a great starting point. Of course, you can adapt all the M lenses, and you have of course the great Apple Summicron SL lenses that Leica produces that you can mount to this camera. So, will I replace this one, the camera that I absolutely like? Well, honestly, no. But that's not because the SL3-S is a bad camera or I do not like it. It's just that my requirements and what I need from a camera, my shooting styles change. Of course, these days, like I said in the videos before, I want to have a small package, and for photo I have my M or my Q3, and for video I have the Sony a6700 that films me right now, or I use just the Osmo Pocket 3. Like I said before, Leica M and Osmo Pocket 3 are a great combination for a lightweight setup, and so that means the Leica SL3-S just doesn't really fit my needs right now, because for my client work the SL2S is still good enough. The only thing I'm missing is the better autofocus, but if I'm behind the camera, I mean, I see if the focus goes wrong and, well, I can correct it. So, but if you want to step into the Leica system, like I said, the SL3-S could be your camera. Or, what is an absolute great deal, I think, is the SL2S these days. This camera you can get in new for around 2,500, and honestly, for that price, I think it is still an absolutely great camera. I know the Sony a7 IV is cheaper, the Canon R6s are cheaper, but you do not get the same quality of the body. Yeah, you have the better autofocus, but that's it. In every other aspect, I think the Leica SL3-S is better. Okay, the Sony does have the 33 megapixel sensor, but yeah. Besides that, I would always choose the Leica. So if the SL3-S could be something for you, you might want to watch this video. It's one of my older ones, but well, in this video I tell you why I love this camera so much in every detail. Thanks for watching, guys, and on to the next one. See ya!